Well, tell me too about the island of Diego Garcia and some of the positioning that's been done there. Bombers, strategic bombers, and as Trump might say, like you've never seen before on those islands here. Um, are these islands a potential target for Iranian ballistic missiles? And if Iran was to allow the Houthis to strike at that or do it themselves, would that indicate, a casus belli for America to go in a much bigger sort of capacity?
No, I think the key signal there isn't really about the Iranian ballistic missiles. It's really that the United States is putting in place the forces that can drop bombs heavy enough to really penetrate the hardened Iranian targets. I think that's the big message there.
And in all of this, the question of, what's Israel's involvement in this? Would this be saying basically Israel has always wanted to go and take these nuclear sites out, but then they'd be saying, well, no, leave this one to us if they do decide to do this?
Well, I had talks with senior Israeli officials recently, and they told me something very interesting, which is that they believe that Donald Trump shares their strategic goal, that is to eliminate the Iranian nuclear program, also the Iranian threat, ballistic missile and proxy threat around the region. They think there's a disagreement between Jerusalem and Washington about the tactics. Trump wants to give it more time. He wants to try to get to a negotiation with the Iranians, but the Israelis believe he's sincere about this strategic goal. And it's a different attitude than they had toward the Biden administration, where they believe that the Biden administration said we agree on the strategic goal, but we disagree on tactics, but they didn't really. That was just a kind of papering, a kind of nice way to paper over the differences. I think they believe that Trump is really serious about this, and they believe that Trump wants it for the American interest, not for Israel. So they're rather confident about that.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting insight. Hey, Michael, while I've got you, I also just want to talk very briefly about Turkey. There have been some absolutely massive protests that have rocked the capital, or not the capital, Istanbul recently. Tell us what you can about them and why this is so important, because, of course, Turkey is a NATO member. It's also a dictatorship. Walk us through what's happening here and where you see this going.
Well, right now, Turkey, I think, is riding as high as it has been since I've been working on this on the Middle East. All of the external counterbalances to Turkey, meaning primarily the Russians and the Iranians, but also the PKK, which is kind of an internal and an external
the Kurds
threat to Turkey. The movement among the Kurds that wants to divide Turkey into a Kurdish and a Turkish state. It's weaker than the PKK is weaker than ever before, and Erdogan may be on the cusp of actually ending the conflict between the PKK and Turkey. And he's also neutralized all domestic opposition. The mayor of Istanbul, Imamoglu, has been taken into custody and his assets seized. Erdogan is looking at the region, and he sees Turkey's now by proxy in control of Syria. Donald Trump needs him very seriously to settle the conflict in Ukraine, because Turkey has the second biggest military in NATO. So I think the Turks, despite all of the protests in Turkey, I think Erdogan right now feels like he is really, if not in the driver's seat, in a very advantageous position with which to negotiate with the Americans and anybody else.
Fascinating. That is such a fascinating country, and it is just at that hinge point of so many critical regions. Michael Doran, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, as always, for your incredible insights.